We are speaking with the one and only Robert Berry. The new album, Third Impression, by the band 3.2, is available now and definitely worth checking out, as we say here in Montreal, because we've spoken, I think, twice before.
Yep.
Bonjour, Robert. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I've been up since, for me, be up since 7 o'clock. That's early, but I'm awake now for you, so we're good.
I know, and 7 o'clock on Sunday of all days coming up this week. I have to do a radio hit at 7 a.m. live to Toronto, and it's just like, really, 7?
You feel like you're going to be alone.
Yeah, it's like why do I have to? Why a Sunday anyway? Third Impression. Fantastic new album, but I would imagine somewhat bittersweet because you got this new music and you're thrilled to talk about it, and let's go. But at the same time, Keith Emerson. So before we get to talking about Keith, let's talk about the album a bit. Let's talk about it coming together, and then let's take that appropriate moment to remember Keith and his contributions.
I tell you, the rules have changed. It was just the last time we talked a couple of years ago. Was the album I was working on with Keith when we lost him right in the middle of it. And I didn't know how that would be received. Well, it was received with open arms. Lots of people thanking me for following through with it, because I didn't really at first want to do it. It was I think this one's bittersweet. That one was very tough emotionally. But I got a call from the record company, and they said, this is Frontiers in Italy. We have Journey, Foreigner, we have Asia, we have everybody on our label. We can't tell you what they sold, but you did really well with your album. You need to do a follow-up. I said, I don't want to do a follow-up. Keith's not here, and I don't feel real right about doing it without him. And they said, don't you have anything left? I said, well, I have one song, and it's 9 minutes long. It's a great piece of music as far as I remember, but I just sort of left it behind because it was too long. They said, well, do it. I said, well, I have to write 7 more songs. I tell you what, since you really are, this is encouraging. If I could write 7 songs that Keith would have liked to work on, that I'm proud of, and fit those parameters we talked about last time with the rules of change, I'll consider it. But I'll get it all done, and then I'll play it for the manager and for you guys, and you tell me, because I said, this isn't in my plan. So I write it, I record it. It came out, I hate to use the word easy, but it flowed out of me. And for the first time, I mean, on the last album, they said, well, gee, it sounds like Emerson's playing some of those parts that were recorded after he was gone. I said, well, I'm capable of playing keyboards, and that's why I play. But this time, I was responsible for writing those parts too, and without any influence. And it was interesting. It just was part of my DNA. So this is much like the last 3.2 album, much like the song I wrote before 3 started in 1988 and had the hit we're talking about. I wrote that song in 86 with Steve Howe for GTR, and it had that Emerson DNA already in it. So it's just been more a part of my journey, I guess, than I realized. Started as a keyboard player, wound up playing a lot more keyboards than I planned to, but that's kind of how it came about. And it seems like people feel the same way. They're glad to hear that last Emerson tune that he and I wrote together. And they are appreciating, if you've heard it, I leaned half of it more toward guitar stuff, because what I do next definitely will not be 3. This is the last album. There's 3 in the 3 series, and there won't be any more. So I wanted to, what will I do next? How do I chase away the fans that could care less about my guitar stuff and just want the Emerson stuff? How do I empower and encourage the fans that like what I do? And I haven't chased away anybody, at least not publicly, that I've seen.
Well, let me ask you about that, because one of the most difficult things for a musician to set up is a brand. I mean, bands are easy. You get 4 guys in a bar and you're a band, but brands are difficult. And 3 is a brand, and people know what it is, and they know what to expect. If I plunk down my $20 for a CD, yes, because I'm still old and I plunk down $20 for CDs.
Yeah, right.
I know what I'm getting. How do you just walk away from that? And I mean, is it out of respect for Keith that you just say, no, if he's not here, I can't do this? Because a brand is important to have.
Yeah, that's exactly it. without the 1 9-minute song, that's a third of an album. I mean, it's more than a
Right.
third of an album. It's quite a big piece, and it's the best of what Emerson and I did together. It really is a great piece of music, and his contribution to it is outstanding. I just can't. I can't do it. It's
Okay.
not right for me to do it. I don't want to do it. This was the best time of my life musically, working with the best players you could ever hope to work with, and I don't want to be, and I love Steve Howe. I worked with him. He's a fantastic guy, but I don't want to be reinserting a bunch of guys, and I'm the only one left that cares about the three thing.
Right.
And, it's like a tribute band that it just needs to be a part of my history, and I need to move on to what I would do. I have my band Alliance with Gary Peel from the band Boston, and it's a straight rock band. So people do expect me to do progressive and hard rock at the same time. So I'm just putting that progressive thing a little less keyboard worthy and a little more guitar. So, I mean, it's just more what I would do on my own. That's all. What comes next? I mean, that's what comes next. Anyway.
What comes next? So you focus on Alliance. One of the other projects that you have is something called December People, which I think is fun. I mean, I'm trying to think of a better word, but it's just fun. Is that something that you also continue?
No, that's good.
Yeah, fun's good. We like fun.
Well, yeah, I will tell you that because I've been through 2 managers and I can't find the right manager to launch it. And I've learned a long time ago that I'm not a good manager. Right?
We all have our skills. I'm not a great musician, but I can do good interviews.
Yeah, I can't do your job. Right. Yeah. I can't be the manager. I can do what I do, and I do it 110%. I'm excited about it. And I haven't found the right guy. We're still together. We only did 1 show in 2019 and none in 2020, of course, because I decided to put on the back burner and try to find that manager. And then all of a sudden they called me from Reno, which is like Las Vegas. And I thought we've been trying to get the show into Las Vegas. December People, I'd like to say, is completely original and completely derivative at the same time.
It is.
And yeah, what happens when people come to see us is they wonder what song we're going to do, like each song, and then they get the joke, so they laugh. That's what makes it fun. But if you know Santa Claus is coming to town, so when you were little, you better watch out, when we start ZZ Top, you better watch out, ha ha ha. You know what's happening, and you're laughing already. So that's what's so cool about it is nobody. Yeah, Trans-Siberian is great, but you can't sing anything afterwards except for dang, da, da, dang, dang, da, da,
Yeah.
They have this whole extravagant show. We actually have things that, we have 9-year-old boys saying, "Oh, what you did to that Back in Black AC/DC? Oh man, with I forget what song it is now."
I'm trying to think, but you covered a Huey Lewis song. Didn't you do like Working for a Living or something like that? That's how I heard about it, because I'm a huge Huey Lewis fan.
Walking Through a Winter Wonderland. Ooh, walking. Yep, just like Huey Lewis. Yeah, and we used to close with that song because people just loved it. It's so rocking. There's always something new. What we did in 2019, which is on an album, we had Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight, as We Three Kings, and we started the show with all the lights out. We Three Kings, and that cool
drum
808 drum machine, and then when that drum roll hit and we had the sound of Phil recorded, so our drummer had it when he hit the drums, it sounded just like Phil, and the lights came on and people,
It's such a fun project. I'd love to see more of it. Let me just quickly talk about progressive rock. I'm in Quebec, and progressive rock, the bands have always done exceptionally well here, going back to the 70s.
Yeah.
But somewhere through, I guess, the 80s and 90s, progressive rock became more of a 70s thing. Where are we in terms of the genre? Because you're still here. You're still doing your thing. Yes is still doing its thing. Dream Theater is still doing its thing. Because we always say, well, rock is dead, but I don't think it is. Is progressive rock still a good business to be in?
In a bigger business model for that, there's so many people in the world, and there's such access to music now online, which has hurt you. It's hurt you. It's hurt me in a big way. But the fan base is huge, and the niche market is the thing.
Yeah.
So progressive rock, folk music, hillbilly twang, or whatever you want to, it's not, doesn't have to be the mainstream hip hop or rap, or, maybe country is the 80s rock of the day, and they got some great songs and musicians in country. So it's a big format, but there's bluegrass that's a niche market, and there's a huge market. Progressive rock is one of those niche markets. A lot of the young guys now are getting into it more, maybe because of bands like Tool that had interesting stuff going on, and of course Rush, until a member died, was always putting out good music. I just think
us Canadians always do good work.
Luckily, yeah, well, that's true. And you guys support your artists on your radio station. A certain percentage has to be Canadian artists, right?
Yeah. CanCon rules, Canadian content. They're CanCon, but we call them Canadian content rules. Yeah, it's it's strange that you mentioned that, because I've when I was a kid and a teenager, and I would watch much music, and I would see all these Canadian bands, and I'm going, wow, they're not playing Rat, they're not playing Dokken, they're not playing Motley Crue, so they could show us, Honeymoon Suite and Gowan. I was like, ugh, what a bunch of nonsense. But now, as I'm older, I kind of look back at it fondly and go, you know what? I never would have discovered the brilliance of Honeymoon Suite, or of Gowan, or of Helix, or of all these other, Bryan Adams. So it sort of cuts both ways. Do you think that's something that should be implemented in the US? I mean, obviously American music is just overpowers the sort of entire globe. It's probably not necessary.
No, it's all over the map too.
Yeah.
American music is all over the map. We do everything here like you guys do there. We're not that far apart. I can almost shake your mirror.
Yeah.
But the powers that it be are pushing the hip hop and rap, because that's what the demographic that buys music, I guess, mostly. I have a hard time with that, because especially when I'm out touring, the amount of people that want to buy a CD, and if I run out of them, they're not happy. It's hard to explain, why the U.S. doesn't support a whole lot of different things that are good for us. I don't want to get political, but come on. I think we have a pipeline in Canada that got shut down that's really hurting a lot of people because it got shut down, right? I mean, there's all kinds of weird.
Yeah, well, the pipeline particularly is hurting Alberta, and it was a presidential decision to shut it down. But let's stick to the music, because my fans always rag on me if we ever talk about socialized medicine, or we talk about anything, they start getting on me. So let's not go there.
Got that.
In terms of you and Frontiers, have they signed you to do other music or other albums? Is there more Robert coming, or are we sort of in a strange transition period?
Only because you're Canadian.
Yes.
I will tell you that I am already working on something that involves a Canadian. That's all I can say about it, because it is really developing.
Is it Aldo Nova?
No, but I don't even want to go too far, because this guy is one of my favorites all time. I'm so excited to work with him. And then there's a guy from England who's the part of the three-piece, and it's going to be really, to me, it's as important in my life as Three was working with Keith and Carl. So I'm excited about it. I might even get up there and be able to shake your hand in person. You never know. We're going to do most of the recording in my studio here in California, but so there is. Yes, already the plans on. The 3.2 band is booked April, have our first show. So I'm looking for other things. I'd love to get to Canada again, but I don't have a promoter there. The guy that did us in 2019, oh boy, that was rough. The manager I had was twice as rough. So he set up things very poorly there. And I was so excited, especially when Three toured through Canada. It was fantastic. Great venues, people. I was expecting the promoter there to do the right job, and then he didn't. The manager I had was he couldn't have been worse. I did 27 cities. I got money paid for me, which goes to the band mostly, for 22 of them. That's because I booked 4 of those shows myself, and one of them was another deal. The shows I booked, I collected the money for because they were in California. It was a really bad experience management wise. Now I have a fantastic manager, English guy. We don't need to talk about him that much more, but
But he's good. Yeah, because when you came to Montreal, it was supposed to be the Piranha Club, and I don't even remember if the show went off or not. But anyway,
video stopped here. How come? Oh, that's our timing.
Oh, has the video stopped?
At least on my end, it says done speaking and leave. Can you see me still?
No, I see a brown screen. But listen, let's let us. Oh, there you are. There, you're back. There you go. Let's. I guess we'll we're at 25 minutes here, so we'll wrap up just to be safe.
Okay.
Third Impression by 3.2 is available now, and of course, Robert will be on tour later this year. Thankfully, that we can actually have shows again. It's nice to see. I actually watched a hockey game that had 14,000 people in it last night. And I was like, yeah, there is a big difference between crowd and no crowd, isn't there?
Huge, yes.
Huge difference.
Financially too, for those, I mean, those places, you know, the ushers, the candy salesman, the t-shirt salesman, everybody, you know, is making a living. I will tell you that I have 200 vinyls coming on Third Impression. I got the rights to do it myself. All I'm pressing is 200. I did more if the rules have changed. I'm making this one rare. That's get on my website if they want it. I did it for myself. They're cheap. They're not really expensive. There's t-shirts or stuff on the website. If people are interested in it, this is the last time there'll be a 3 or 3.2 album. And I just appreciate the support for that music. You know, it's a huge part of my life.
Absolutely. And we'll send over to people to www. We don't actually say that anymore, but robertberry.com. I'm old school. I still say the www, but for other folks, robertberry.com to pick up the vinyl, the album, and everything. As we say in Montreal, merci, Robert. Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure.
Well, I enjoy speaking with you. Next year, when we talk, you're going to feel some ownership, I think, in that Canadian piece of the band. So
I'm looking excited. Forward to it. I'm curious. You'll have to email me later and tell me who it is. But
okay,
folks, 3.2 Third Impression out now on Frontiers, and of course robertberry.com for the vinyl. And there you go. Merci bien.
Great talking to you again, and take care of yourself. And I think things are heading all the right way now. We're all happy, right?
Yeah, we're getting there. 2022 is going to be a great year, and we're going to finish 2021 off in force, en force.
That's for sure.
Thank you, sir.
Positive. I'll talk to you soon.
Cheers. Let me stop this recording.